In Mr. Sinister's dark future, chimera mutants run rampant, but not all are created equal. Who will rise above the rest? Well, let's hop into the pages of Nightcrawlers issue number 1, a continuation of the Sins of Sinister event, and find out what happens next together, shall we? Alrighty then, so as we join this brand new story, we are reintroduced to Sean Cassidy, the mutant formerly known as Banshee and currently known as Vox Ignis. If you've been reading the Legion of X book, then you'll know that Sean was gifted the Spirit of Variance by the mysterious Mother Righteous. What's the Spirit of Variance? Well, it used to be a Spirit of Vengeance. If the Flaming Skullhead was not a dead giveaway, that is until one day the Spirit decided that vengeance was ultimately a fruitless endeavor and decided to become a Spirit of Change. We're 7 years deep into Sinister's takeover of the world, and Sean is still working for Mother Righteous, trying to gather magical items from around the Marvel Universe. A mission made all the more difficult by the Legion of Night, Mr. Sinister's Chimera hit squad. Deadly mutant assassins spliced with Nightcrawler DNA. In fact, this whole story is basically testament to the fact it's a good thing that Kurt was the only one who has those powers, because in the wrong hands they can be quite terrifying and quite deadly. It's not long before poor Sean ends up getting overrun by these guys. Thankfully, he has one card still yet to play. No, not the Pennant Stare, but the Variant Scream. As the name might suggest, this power can change people's minds. It's never worked on any of Sinister's creations before because they're usually so tainted and corrupted down to the very core. Yet today, most surprisingly, 3 of the Legion of Night members actually turn against their own and rejoin the good side. That, of course, being the Laura Wolverine one, the Domino one, and the Spider-Man one, and no, they don't have names because they're pretty fresh clones. In fact, the second they get the ability to think for themselves and self-determine, they start questioning their own existence. Oh boy. Now, why exactly was Vox able to win these guys over when for the last 7 years he's had no luck? Well, as we discover from Mother Righteous and by some of the appendix pages, it had everything to do with the original Nightcrawler's hexed genes. Yeah, you'll remember if you were reading Legion of X before this event started, Kurt just grew devil horns out of the blue. This new demonic second mutation made his genes incredibly hard for Sinister to sculpt, and because of that, he basically just stopped at a point until one day he decided that now would be a good time to start again. Mother Righteous was able to break this curse by using her extensive knowledge of magic. In fact, it's heavily implied that she had to do a bunch of blood sacrifices to finally get the job done. Who cursed Kurt's genes and why? Well, we learned that too in short order at a very important meeting of Sinister's own rogue clones. There's Stellaris, the Black King of Clubs and major player in the Galactic Rim, as well as Dr. Stasis, the Black Spade King, and one of the only surviving high-ranking members of Orchis. He was actually the one who pulled the strings and commissioned the spell to corrupt original Nightcrawler's genes in hopes that Mr. Sinister wouldn't be able to tap into its amazing power. That good it did him anyway, as Orchis still managed to fall all the same. Funnier still, Dr. Stasis and Stellaris get into an argument about who very well could be the original clone in all of this, only for Mother Righteous to shock everyone by taking off her mask and revealing that she too is actually a Sinister clone, the Red Queen of Hearts, though actually her heart is white because her skin is already a shade of red. Honestly, I feel stupid for not figuring out that she was a Sinister clone already, considering that her mask was obviously hiding something and she fits in with the bigger theme that the Sinister clones are all kind of playing with at the moment. Dr. Stasis, being the most petty one of the group, ends up starting shit and figuring that he could deal with all of these other clones. What he doesn't know, though, is that Mother Righteous managed to turn those members of the Legion of Night, turning them into her own personal Nightcrawlers. Stasis pulls out some pretty amazing technology in the battle, but ultimately he's taken down by the Wolverine Nightcrawler, who, get this, stabs him in the face by using a blade that comes out of her tail. That is really cool. Stellaris is thankfully much more chill, though. He's playing his own game. He already stole the original Sinister's lab filled with Moira clones. And honestly, he doesn't seem to care much one way or another what Mother Righteous gets up to and what her ultimate goals are, so long as she stays out of his way of stopping the Dominion. What's the Dominion? Again, you would probably already know this if you were reading Immortal X-Men, but the Dominion is basically the ultimate signifier of the machines winning the battle between AIs and mutants. The Dominion is basically an all-powerful mechanical godhead, an ultimate power that Stellaris thinks he can defeat by creating his own godhead at the World Farm. Again, if you've been keeping up with all the different X-Men books, basically all these different Mr. Sinister clones all had their own completely different plans from stopping the Dominion, be it by creating their own counter-Dominion, by working with the machines, or whatever whatever Mother Righteous plans to do. Which as it stands right now is collect more followers. She sends Vox Ignis out to every corner of the Marvel Earth to collect more Sinister corrupted clones to join her cause. I like this too because all of the different places around the world have funny new Sinister-inspired names. Like New York isn't New York anymore, it's New Essex. Now, while original Recipe, Sinister, Stellaris, and even Dr. Stasis all tackled their problems from the scientific point of view, Mother Righteous is different. She comes at her problems from the position of faith and mysticism. She also, like all religious fanatics, is a true supremacist, believing herself to be the ultimate being in the universe and that only her and her followers should be able to inherit the Earth. Because of that, she plans to lead a holy crusade on the world farm to take down her biggest opponent in Stellaris, and by lead an attack, I of course mean send a suicide bomber. It's the Spider-Man Nightcrawler who volunteers for this holy honor, and it's only after his death do we learn that everyone was calling him Wallcrawler, which is a pretty funny name. Turns out, despite Stellaris having a live and let live kind of approach with Mother Righteous, he was sure to install an anti-teleportation field around his base, meaning that Righteous and her followers just can't walk up whenever they want. Which means that perhaps the only way to defeat this brand new Dominion is with a Dominion of her own, one made using all of the most powerful magic items from across the Marvel Universe, including the likes of Mjolnir, the Eye of Agamotto, and so many more fun Marvel magical Easter eggs. And so that was Nightcrawlers issue number 1, everybody, and I gotta say, I really like how they're building this Sins of Sinister event. You can basically pick up any of these different tie-in issues. They're all perfectly contained little mini-series, and yet when you read them all together, they actually manage to peel back different layers of what's actually going on in the story as a whole. I also really got to applaud Spurrier and the rest for really tying together a bunch of different hanging plot threads from all the different X-Men books. It's probably the most rewarded I've felt reading X-Men in a little bit now, probably since Hawks and Pox started. Overall, I'd give this one a strong 8 out of 10, and I hope all these other Sins of Sinister tie-in books can keep this sort of energy moving forward. If so, I think we'll actually be in for one hell of an event.
Hey there everyone, it's your old pal Cave Jewel, and if you're seeing me right now, that means you watched to the end of the video, which I am very appreciative of. It really helps drive engagement and retention and all that other good YouTube stuff. So does liking and commenting. Wink wink. If you like my content too, you should check out my Patreon page. We just redid all the tiers, so there's a ton of great rewards. You can become a patron for as little as $1 a month, and well, it would just really help me out. It's never expected, but always appreciated. So until next time everyone, I've been Cave Joel, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.